In this video, we're going to talk about Surrey Central condos. Is it worth putting money into Surrey Central right now, whether you're considering a pre-sale, assignment, or a resale condo? Let's break it down. My name is Uzair Muhammad. If you don't know who I am, I specialize in pre-construction across the greater Vancouver area. I run a real estate team that specializes just in new construction. This is what we do day in, day out. We don't do the odd pre-sale deal. So everything I'm about to share with you is from first-hand experience and what I've seen in the market on a daily basis. So let's talk about Surrey Central. Is it worth putting money in Surrey Central right now? And that's the big question. Whether you're an investor or first-time buyer, I'm going to break down everything you need to know about Surrey Central, and then you can make your own decision. And this is me knowing the market every single day because I have an office here, I work here, I see the deals happening here every day. So when we're talking about Surrey Central, you have three type of product in the market right now. You have the pre-sale product, which is the pre-construction completing in 27, 28. Then you have the 2024 and 25 completion, which are coming in assignments. That's the low-rise and the high-rise buildings. And then the third one is your resale condos that were either previously completed and people are living in them now, rented out, etc. So let's talk about the resale condos. Resale condos, if you look at a good building with a decent square footage, good strata, the building itself is in good condition, looking at between 5 to 7 years old or maybe 4 to 7 years old building. There's a ton of them. The hubs are the two, hub 1 and hub 2. Then you have a few of the other towers closer to the Surrey Central area in the middle. By the King George station, there's a few of them. All these buildings are selling somewhere around $900 a square foot. That will give you a good square footage, a good building with good strata. You can buy a one-bedroom condo somewhere around the $450 mark to $460. That will land you around $900 a square foot. Good product. You can move in and live there for a few years. It'll give you access to SkyTrain stations. It'll give you access to all the amenities, SFU, KPU, the mall. Everything that you need to know will be in that in the amenities of about 10-minute walk from all these locations. That's your kind of concrete wood frame concrete condos. Then you have the wood frame buildings. Wood frame buildings are anywhere between $850 to $925 a square foot, depending on the age of the building. There's not a lot in Surrey Central wood frame new ones. The ones that are, they're a little bit more on the outskirts, which is about a 15-minute to 20-minute walk from the SkyTrain itself. You can get a good deal. I think the last one we looked at was a 2-bed, 2-bath, $650,000 wood frame building. Q5, Radley, Hendricks. There's some good buildings there that are almost brand new, 1 to 2 years old, and you can get a good unit in there for around $850 to $900 a square foot. That's kind of the going rate. In the concrete ones, you're going to be a little bit smaller units and maybe $25, $30 a square foot more. But wood frame, same thing. You'll get a little bit newer building, but in wood frame for the same price point. You have good option in the resale market, whether you're looking to invest or it's just something you're going to move into. Okay, and then we're talking about assignments. And I think that's where the big opportunity is, which most people are not looking at. So why am I talking about assignments in Surrey Central? I think if you're a first-time buyer, you should definitely look at these assignments because you're going to see the opportunity in them. You can get a brand new unit, nobody's lived in it, with warranty, everything in, at 2021 prices. And the reason why I'm saying 2021 prices is because there's a lot of investors that bought multiple units and they can't close on them. The downside is that most of these deals are not going to be on the MLS. Majority of these deals are going to be off-market, private realtor groups, and that's where they're going to be because a lot of these developers don't want the assignments on the market in the same building they have their own units in. So that's you're going to be your downside to finding these deals. So maybe find somebody who can get you access to some of these assignment deals, but there's amazing deals. One-bedroom condos, the recent deals we did. 1-bed condo, parking, storage locker, 500 square feet, $415. And this is, when I'm talking deals, I'm talking really good deals. 2-bed, 2-bath condo. The last deal we did was $610,000 for a 2-bed, 2-bath condo, brand new, move-in ready, 3 months closing or so. Sometimes it's quicker. But yes, there's GST on top of that price point. But if you do the math on GST, you save land transfer tax. If obviously you're moving in as a primary residence, so you're not paying land transfer tax. And then crazy thing is, some of these units have credits on them. You're looking at $10,000 to $20,000 in just credit. So if you're buying a 2-bedroom condo and there's a $15,000 credit, your GST is $30,000, but you already got $15,000 as credit. So definitely look at these opportunities because there's a lot of good ones out there that you can look at as assignment markets. or in the assignment market. But I think assignment is very specific realtor that you need to have, because assignments are more complex. You want to make sure that you're buying into the right project, because all you're going to have is a building under construction and a floor plan and the contract. So you need to have an agent who can actually understand these contracts properly to be able to get you a good deal on these assignments and do it properly, where you're not going to get screwed when you go to closing. So these are the two, the resale and the assignment. Now let's talk about pre-sales. This is what I think a lot of people want to know, whether it actually makes sense to put money into pre-sales in Surrey Central. Okay, let me tell you. I've been talking about this on my Instagram and making videos on this since 2021. As we got into 2022 and the prices hit like $1,250 a square foot, $1,200 a square foot, I was literally screaming on Instagram and social media. I said, there's no money. You're not going to make any money paying $1,200 a square foot for a pre-construction condo in the Surrey Central. You will not make any returns on this for the next 10 years. I don't care what anybody says. The buyer here is not the same buyer that's in Brentwood and Metrotown or Coquitlam. The buyer here is very different. Buyer here is here for convenience, and they are on a budget. They're not here because there's such great amenities that people want to be here and bring their families and own these apartments and live in these apartments. That's not what Surrey Central is. Well, not as of now. Maybe it'll change over the next 10 years, but it's not there yet. So you're not going to have a buyer that's going to pay $1,200, $1,250 a square foot where you can actually make money on this. So I had, back in 2022, I had a client, not a client really, it was a buyer who entered into a contract with the developer for a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom condo, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom condo in a high-rise. And he calls me and he says, I bought this condo for $989,000 plus GST and everything. And it's 900 square feet. So it was just close to $1,100 a square foot. Is it a good investment? And the question I asked him, I'm like, do you think after you close this, paying GST, land transfer tax, everything in, and he was an investor, everything in, do you think you're going to be able to sell this condo for $1.1 million? For you to make sense of this investment, where you make some return on this property? And his instant answer to me was, if I was a buyer, I'd never pay $1.1 million for a condo in Surrey. I'd rather just go buy a townhome in Langley. Exactly. That's what most people don't understand. The price points are so sensitive here in Surrey Central that you need to be cost effective. It needs to make sense for the next buyer. Whether you're an investor, you need to make sure that your rents are enough where you can break even on these. So that's why assignments and the resale market is a lot more attractive than the pre-sale market. Currently, right now, you have few projects that are trying to sell or selling concrete buildings. I think people have to be a lot more careful about the developers that they're buying with. In Surrey, there's a lot of developers that market themselves as big developers, but the product they deliver is shit. I've seen this product, and I don't specifically work with that developer or that marketing team, just because the product is so shit, and the price point they sell it at is significantly higher. So it's one of those things that you have to really know what you're buying and what you're getting on completion. And crazy thing is, there's a lot of people that actually lost money even buying in 2021 because they didn't have the capacity to close. And the developer just told them to forfeit their deposit and walk away. But what's going to happen? I think the real pain is coming next year when most of these guys that pay the $1,100 a square foot, $1,150 a square foot, and they can't close. And I tell you a scenario. I have a text. Maybe I can put it on the screen for you. I got from a guy who said he bought a 2-bath condo. I think he bought it for $755. It's 700 and some square feet. It was just around $1,050 a square foot, and he can't find a buyer right now for even $680. He said, "Find me a buyer at $680." I said, "There's nobody paying you $680 for this thing. It's a concrete 2025 completion, and that $755 plus 5% GST, that puts you at about $790 plus land transfer tax, everything in. So let's just say $800,000 after you're done." Who's paying you $800,000 for a 2-bedroom condo in Surrey right now? And then at the same time, we picked up such good deals with a developer that's reputable at 10% deposit with 2027 completion. See, the thing is, the most blown up projects don't have the greatest deals. The most quiet ones are the ones with the best deals. And you want to find developers that leave meat on the bone for people. So this deal, I'll tell you the details on. 10% deposit. We got the unit for $699, basically after credit, everything, and it's like 700K. Unit is almost 800 square feet, so we're looking at about 920 a square foot. It's concrete, completing close to 2027, and our buyer is looking to rent this building out. Run the number on those. When you run the number on those, you're significantly about 10% below what all the comparables are. I know for a fact a unit that's 800 square feet has already been pre-sold for $800,000. And when you can get it discounted by $100,000 directly from a developer with only putting 10% down, that's the money. That's where I want to put the money, because I know I have higher comparables by developers that are not even reputable, that don't deliver good product. But on the other hand, you can get into these projects at 920, 930 a square foot. That's where the money is, right? And that's brand new product. So does it make sense to put money into pre-construction right now in Surrey? My answer is going to be no, unless the dollar per square foot cost is significantly below what all the other comparables are. And developers have to be attractive. That's where you're going to see not a lot of high rises coming to Surrey. Yes, they're going to advertise. There are going to be a lot of promotions going on, but you have to really look at your dollar per square foot cost. If you're paying $1,200 a square foot or even $1,100 a square foot, I personally think you're paying too much, and you don't have to take my advice for it, but I just know for a fact, because there's no buyer for this at $1,200 a square foot. The one thing you have to understand when you're buying a pre-construction condo is who's your buyer on completion. It's not about the market going up. It's like, who's your buyer on completion? Because you still have to incur 5% GST and land transfer tax. And then you have to figure out who your buyer is on completion. So the most important thing I can tell you when it comes to pre-sales in Surrey, look at your dollar per square foot cost. Inventory is high. It's going to remain high for the next year and a half or so. Okay, that's just how the numbers are looking because of the amount of inventory that's closing right now. So you're going to have a lot more condos for rent. A lot more condos are going to be up for sales in Surrey. And that's going to be happening over the next few years. And I think next 12 months to 18 months are going to be challenging for Surrey Central. If a project comes in the market at $950 a square foot, concrete, 28 completion, $1,000 a square foot, maybe you look at that. But I honestly think there's a lot better ROIs or return on investment projects outside the Surrey Central area. And I think if you look at some low-rise buildings that are randomly placed in different parts of Surrey and there's no condo inventory around that area, that's probably going to be more ideal. Just because there's better amenities for families and kids, people with kids, and they're looking to these condos even as rentals because, people just don't want to be by SkyTrain. Not everybody wants to be by SkyTrains. They want to be in a condo, but they want to be away from all the, the traffic and all the, the busyness and everything. So I think a lot of times you're going to find better returns buying into these randomly placed buildings across the city that have better dollar per square foot cost, that have a better tenant, better qualified buyer with a family that has an elementary school close by, has all these things that you're looking for. I think that's where I'd probably be putting my money if I'm going to in Surrey. But I think Langley for us is going to be a big, Langley, Willoughby specifically, Willowbrook a little bit. We're going to go into South Surrey. South Surrey is going to be really good. I think Delta will have a good boom coming. Delta doesn't have enough inventory for condos and stuff, so that's kind of our areas we're looking at. We might come back to Surrey Central in a year or 2 years, depending on where things are. But I think right now, with the amount of inventory coming, I just don't see a lot of investors making money in the next 3 to 5 years. I said 3 years more specifically. 5 years, maybe things can change, but I think 3 years, there's not much ROI happening, depending on the dollar per square foot cost that's being sold right now. So if you are looking at a pre-sale, dollar per square foot cost is going to be most important. Anything under $1,000 a square foot is going to be just fine. But when you get into $1,100, $1,200 a square foot, whether it's concrete or wood frame, just walk away. Find a better deal. You can get the same price point in Coquitlam. Just go buy in Coquitlam. Way better investment.